And welcome back, YouTube. We're picking up where we left off last time in the Shadow Empire. Looking at where we are in the Shadow Empire, we are starting to get industry together. We've just finished completing the demineralization plant and the power plant, so when we roll this turn, we should see what the output for the new upgraded power plant and new demineralization plant is. We started production on expanding the truck stations, I think, to the last levels that we'll be able to get in our two. No, we'll actually upgrade one more time in our westernmost city, but we're getting close to maximum truck level, which means we're either going to have to start transitioning over to rail, or we're going to have to pick up new sites where I want to put truck hubs. I know our city over here is probably going to get a truck hub when we integrate that out subject, and the same over here, the one on the east is going to get a truck hub, which will actually slightly deprioritize the importance of the one in the middle, but that'll be in the future. So let's actually roll with the turn, because we ended the last stream on the end of a turn rather than the beginning of a turn, because it's the state where I normally would want to save the game, or where I normally take a section break, is a place where it's not easy to save. So I save at the end of the turn before rolling the turn, and then put the stream break there. So pretty much the turn was already done. I did a little bit of pre-stream looking around to make sure I knew what was going on. But otherwise we're just going to be picking up where I left off last time, other than just a bit of looking around. I think at this point we started to dominate the local wildlife, and it's just come down to how scary the arachnids are going to be, and if we're going to get jumped on by one or more majors. Because we don't have any land borders with them right now, and we have decent diplomacy with them, so they probably won't declare the moment we get into contact with them. And to be fair, because of spies, we've already opened contact with them, so they're not going to be surprised in a Cold War. We have thankfully a state of peace. Both of them are in blackmailing territory from international relations, so it's going to be hard necessarily to keep them at peace. And they both might start a war accidentally with us by declaring war on our subjects. Last I checked, the AI doesn't necessarily check to see if the person they're declaring war on is a subject of a nation they have a peace treaty with. So I definitely have had situations in the past where I've had one of my subjects declared on, which dragged me into a war with a major. Now, to be fair, the last time that happened wasn't on stream, right? But the last time that happened, it really backfired for that major, because they were just completely out of position. We weren't in a good position to do anything about it. Overall, not a bad end turn, as we didn't really take any losses. We have one decision. We can return their spy and refuse their payment, or we can just accept their payment for the political power. What is our opinion with these guys right now? Or other way around, what is these guys' opinion with me? They're at 90, so let's return their spy and refuse their payment, because that'll make them happier. Gives maximum opinion with them. Okay, so the mercanteers here are getting a little antsy/mobile. Now they are one of the guys we will probably do something about soon. Maybe this turn that I start making reparations, deal with them. Okay, still don't have enough recon to tell us how scary the arachnids are. Okay, I'm guessing what was behind us is now in front of us. Yeah, it looks like it.
Negative to breach.
Up here. One of the new construction's done. We're now making surplus power. In fact, we immediately capped out the power over the end turn, so that's somewhat good to see. Demineralization plant is now making 180 metal. So level 1 demineralization plant is making a third of what the metal mine 4 is. In addition, it's producing some rare earth metals and some radioactives. So we, in theory, I think have enough radioactives now. I could build a nuclear power plant when I get the tech for that. And we're working on the truck station there and the truck station there. And the booster bases are done. So now I'm presented with the option of, do I want to build roads, or do I want to build troops, or do I want to build more industry? I'm thinking, if we can, I want to clear out this area up here so we can focus more on the arachnids. And it'll be easier to sort of decisively get rid of these guys if I bring in some... Basically take advantage of the fact that we now have the industry and the petrol and the metal to start building motorized and tank forces. So I'm going to raise... not independent, I'm going to raise some brigade-sized light tank, if possible. Okay, it's going to get a bit close. And it's getting close due to the IC cost. It's quite IC expensive, but it looks of it. Okay. Okay, so we'll stand up the light tanks. And I suppose based on that, we should actually go into model. And we're not going to use our light ones. So those are obsolete, these are the regulars. Alright, so those guys are stood up. We can start to strategically move them to the front as we have logistics for it. Do you want to sweep south of them? Probably. Okay, and I think that's all our moves. And I just spent all the industry, so we're obviously not doing any more industry stuff. Any cards we want to run? I think from earlier, if I remember, we've already got all the commercial projects complete. Yep, and almost certainly the zoo's done everywhere. Yeah, so we're waiting for unifications to get more zoos and commercial projects. And maybe we could roll on archaeology. There might be some out there, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Okay, so let's see if I can do some unification rolls. Will the unification roll work?
Affirmative.
Nope. Still refuse the unification roll. Are you trading with that regime, or are you trading with that regime? Non-aggression backs are probably no. Almost could do it with that one. Surprised I can almost do it with that one. In fact, free trade would not be an automatic nor with that one. So, east. The east major is nicer than the west major. Okay. In fact, he's willing enough for scientific cooperation that I'm just going to throw scientific cooperation in his face. See if it passes.
Affirmative.
And it does. So we got some scientific cooperation. That'll help us with discovery. Also help us with research if we're researching things that they've already researched, I think. I think that's how that works. Okay. I do have a little bit more political power, so we could also send Xeno diplomat.
Affirmative.
And then we'll cycle it in. So if I can keep standing it up, I'd like to stand up two more, well, not two more tank divisions, but the next two divisions I want to, or next two brigades I want to stand up are going to be motorized brigades. I want to stand up some motorized siege grenadiers. Stand up two brigades of that. I think we can sort of wipe the western area out, connecting us up to our subject over there. At which point I'll start trying to roll unification on both of them. To get us more industry and more people. And then the motorized and tank units will probably be enough to deal with the arachnids as they get freed up, as the militia can hold the gap north of the mercanteers. And the intern is, well, to be fair, again, as always, the things that will be scary to us in the end turn are at the end of the end turn. So we're kind of just waiting for the majors and the minors we don't know to do their thing. And right now, none of the majors are going to be particularly scary unless they declare war on our subjects. Because this is actually the leader, the Desu Reich here. They're the ones in the lead. But they only have a very short border with one of our allies, so they're not likely necessarily going to start a war. And apparently they're the most diplomatic available out of the two of them, so maybe we'd be able to talk them back down off the cliff after they jump. And start the war. Talk them back down to peace pretty easily. Might be a possibility. I have done it with factions that are in blackmailing status before. Which is not as easy as the ones that want to be at peace. Yeah. Okay, we have 8 decisions, 97 reports. I'm gonna probably ignore all the reports. With that promise, we've just completed the research into nuclear power plants, so we could actually start building a nuclear power plant. Which would assure us that we have all the power we could ever want. And still no reconnaissance, not sufficient reconnaissance on the Arachnids to know what we're running up against, as far as their units are concerned. Militia converted back, yep. Spend the money, make it fancy. Incident in the library. Apparently our model design council guy is not mind. Oh yeah, he's Fist. That explains why he's pissing people off in this situation. He is also perfect happiness right now, so I'm going to reverse his decision. Sort of as the balanced option here. So he'll lose a little bit of opinion, we'll gain a little bit of mind, unrest won't go up very much.
Copy that.
Okay, apparently we just got a new council in the last cycle, so I need to adjust all the priorities. I want them to be nice round numbers. Oh yeah, we picked up the Secret Service in the last cycle. Do I have most of the ecotech I want? What I'm looking for ecotech, I'm looking for heavy industry, looking for high-speed rail. So the answer there is no. I'm looking for at least 2 major techs. And I wouldn't be unhappy if we get down to something like, well, yeah, I'm basically looking for 2 techs. I'm looking for high-speed rail, I'm looking for high-tech industry. At which point I can turn the eco down, but I don't want to turn the eco down yet. I want those techs. Same thing with military research. Military research is going to be the one that sort of stays prioritized at 20% the entire time. Model design is something I can probably turn down. We'll turn it down to 5. Which will also piss off the guy we've just pissed off, so maybe that wasn't the best choice in the near term, but... Foreign affairs, yeah, I think the foreign affairs is more important than the Interior Council, so we'll shaft the Interior Council and the Model Council, Model Design, and everyone else will get basically 10%, unless it's the priorities, which are our research or our political power generation. Yeah, a little bit in taxation, basically nothing in tariffs, and then mostly in human resources and interior policies. That's fine. Okay, let's research high-tech industry. That is something we want to build basically ASAP as soon as we get it. Military tech. think we just finished the jet helicopter engine, the VTOL engines. So probably out of these, I'm actually going to do laser rifle. Laser rifle will be one of the types of... one of the situations where I'll actually make an alt unit instead of just being a pure upgrade of an existing unit.
Order acknowledged.
Okay, we have a contact with the natives. This is the one we scheduled with Tamano. Their alien speak is at a reasonable level. Actually, based on the fact their alien speak is at a reasonable level, we're gonna go. We're gonna give them some free tech.
Affirmative.
And the goal there is once they sort of have a reasonable level of tech and a reasonable level of language, at that point I will start reaching out to them to recruit them as mercs, because we'll start getting some decent mercs off of them. They're not quite there yet, which is why. Well, it's one of the reasons why we're going into diplomacy with them. Raising formation. I now want to raise some motorized siege. That's probably what we're prepping right now, isn't it? Orcs. Staff council. Yes, that is what we're working on right now. Okay, so we'll hold off until this is done. Based on what it looks like, it'll be done in 2 or 3 turns. And then we'll probably have the industry at that point to deploy the 2 brigades of that I want. Holding picket formation there. We already did the moves there, did the moves there. We're at basically the edge of the supply here, so unless I have more roads, we're not advancing. We'll try to gently push back the local wildlife here, as we need a little bit more firepower to actually deal with them. Guessing... surprised the water is going down here, but the food and the petrol makes a little bit of sense. Because we did just deploy a bunch of tanks that just slurped up petrol. And we probably just have so many people at this point in the army that we're actually consuming too much food. Both of those, I think all of those would be pretty easy to fix just by buying. Because I think the price on all those is pretty low. Yep, petrol's pretty cheap, water's pretty cheap, food's pretty cheap. Because the civilian sector's been selling those 3. Everything else is expensive. So those 3 are the cheap ones. So I'm not worried about those ones going down right now because we're going to buy those with credits. Let's see if we do unification.
Affirmative.
They still refuse the unification. One reason I'm trying unification pretty heavily right now is if I unify with these guys in the east, it'll be easy enough to hook them up the rail. And then that will sort of get us into a state where these guys won't be able to declare on us via them. Because it's going to be easier to maintain the peace if they are gone. Okay, do I have enough to both do embassy, which is 10, and the shadow diplomat? Yes. Okay, so we'll do that.
Affirmative.
Give the foreign affair guys a diplomat. We'll do an embassy on these guys. We got like basically a 50-50 chance of success, and we failed, but when you've got a basically 50-50 chance of success, you also don't have a chance of critical failure. So we didn't critically fail. Opinion stays the same. We just burnt 20 political power for a little bit of XP on the diplomat, foreign affairs counselor. Okay, so let's roll the turnover. During this turn rollover, our tanks should receive their missing tanks. And then we're basically just waiting on the development of those motorized siege grenadiers, and then we'll be able to quickly form up the force I want to take out the mercanteers with. Though I will be monitoring the state of our water and food over the couple turns. Because those are, at this point, those should be easy to deal with and easy to fix. And again, they're cheap, so if there's an emergency, I can buy those. Petrol a little harder to fix, but again, it's still pretty cheap. And the petrol went down because we just bought a lot of tanks. Filling up the gas tanks is expensive. In terms of raw petrol, not necessarily in terms of money. As I'm watching the end term, realizing how many untapped petrol wells we have out in the desert. Yeah, we've got plenty of petrol. It's not a problem with this planet. Oh, I suppose this is something to bring up. I started this game on the last patch, which was like the arachnid patch. This is actually now being played in the newest patch, because a patch came out and couldn't figure out how to roll the game back to the old patch, so I just went like, well, if the game launches, we're going to run on the new patch. So hopefully we don't have any game-breaking bugs, and we can finish the game out before the game breaks, because I'm having to play on a new patch. No losses, have 2 decisions. Democracy. The only reason to not take the democracy down here is it'll piss the city off. Generate some unrest. Which city is this? This is Ergstone. Okay, so I'd prefer Ergstone not get too annoyed. Though it's currently not annoyed, so I'll take the 12 unrest here.
Copy that.
Actually, I'll go ahead and balance here. We'll go 50-50.
Affirmative.
We're gonna need fewer and fewer minor diplo cards as we go forward.
Affirmative.
Still haven't unified with them. Okay, tanks are ready. Yeah, I think double check on staff council. Yeah, 2 more turns. 2 more turns by the looks of it. I suppose I can get a prediction on how much they'll cost, right? So it's going to cost trucks plus siege grenadiers, right? So siege grenadiers are 670. Yeah, so if I hog my industrial capacity for the next couple turns, we'll be able to deploy those as soon as they are complete researched. And they'll quickly form up. One will form up here, one will form up in the... Well, I'll probably use it to help free up the militia down here. But basically be the tanks, the first motorized, the second motorized, and then we'll very quickly crush this pocket, because as we start to crush this pocket, these guys are going to technically declare on us, and they're going to be more aggressive. Than they currently are. Yeah, water... Well, food's starting to rebound, but water's still going down. I don't want to handle that. Ice mining, water purification. Rating just short of double for twice the power. And about twice the machines, but I think the machines are going to be fine. Yeah, so let's just drop a water purification here.
Copy that.
That'll solve the water problem. It isn't too expensive. Truck stations are coming along. Those are what we're upgrading right now. I'm going to save up instead of building roads, I'm going to save up for the incoming brigades that I want to build. Do I still have a Shadow Diplomat? We do have a Shadow Diplomat, so we can try what we tried last turn again.
Affirmative.
Oh, their opinion has changed. Okay. A little bit more likely to insta-fail then. And fail in a way that it will lower opinion. Yeah, we don't want to provocate. I am rich on rare earth, so let's sell a bunch of rare earth
Roger
off.
that.
And I will still do a bit of diplomacy with them. We'll give them a gift of money.
Affirmative.
Well, that was a failure. Could have been worse. Well, actually, I think as far as that diplomacy card is concerned, that's as bad as it gets. But yeah. So maybe they had a government rollover, and the new government's less friendly. That's what I'm gathering. Well, these guys are Republican. Okay, so these guys might actually be able to diplomatize these guys into real peace at some point. The Republican governments, the AI for the Republican governments has 3 different parties. And depending upon the party, depends on what they're willing to do deep diplomacy with you. Whereas the theocratic ones, I don't think any of their parties are willing to do deep diplomacy with you. Yeah, so right now they have... What party do they have in charge? Looks like they have the Syndicate Party in, which is Enforcement Democracy. Whereas I think the real politicers here, the Commerce Diplomacy or Democracy Mind Party, I think they'll do. They're more willing to do diplomacy with us. So that is something you can actually play with Republican people, is you can try to get the right party into power, so you can do diplomacy with them, with spies. I don't have the political power to do that, so we're not going to be playing around with that for a while. The one thing I should do, now that I'm thinking about it, is let's continue. Oh no, the bureaucratic office is expanded fully there, and fully here, is it? Never mind, I already thought of it. Can't do it. If I had the capacity to expand it, I should expand the bureaucracy. But I can't, because the bureaucracy has already been expanded as big as it can. I believe the governmental bunker is still in expansion. So we're going to roll over the turn. In the effort to try to keep these episodes I'm recording tonight to be a bit on the shorter side, I'm going to try to keep these guys around 30 minutes. This is probably going to be the last end turn. I'm going to go ahead and probably put the break coming in up here. So I hope you've been enjoying it. We are starting to stand up our tank battalion, tank brigades, and motorized brigades. So in the next part, we'll probably have the motorized brigades stood up, and we'll just start mopping the field with anything that isn't a major real quickly. At which point I'll probably start standing up some more light brigades, just for the picket duties. Because I suspect once we start really expanding, we're going to be too spread thin just to rely on the militia and the 2 brigades we already have. And the motorized and tank brigades are going to be the sort of armored, fast-moving spearhead, and I'm going to need the guys to hold the line behind them and on the flanks. So light infantry brigades are pretty good for that. Plus, we're technically at war with the Arachnids, so at some point I'm going to have to fight the Arachnids. For a nation that's technically at war with us, the Arachnids are being fairly passive, but I suspect they're also at war with the guys on their other side, so their AI is doing the best they can with their limited troops. So there we go. Actually, it finished one turn earlier. Oh, that reminds me, I was going to put the cut in there. So we'll go back to the top of the vid. This is where I'll put the cut in. So catch you guys in the next part. Hope you've been enjoying it. If you're following along on Twitch, feel free to hang around till the end of the break. I'm going to basically start up again after a quick stretch break. So catch you all in the next part. Bye for now.